This is the conversation I've been waiting to have. My guest today has spent several years across data science, education, and entrepreneurship, moving between research labs, classrooms, and real world businesses across Singapore, Japan, and global institutions. Dr. Daniel Ko, welcome to 101 Talks.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Sachin. Thanks for the invitation to be in this podcast. I'm glad to join, and I believe we're going to have a very wonderful conversation together.
The first thing which stood out to me personally is the statement which I got it when I researched LinkedIn. Your statement that we cannot change the past, nor can we predict the future. Overrating the future misleads, underrating the past dangers. Live in the moment and leave behind a legacy. This is stuck in my mind from the time I saw your profile. So can you elaborate more into this for our audience?
Sure. I mean, you see, the thing is that in life, we had some activities or some past activities that sometimes we may be proud of, sometimes not so proud of. And I feel that sometimes we tend to look at the past too often when we try to move forward. And so I believe that, we have to come to the mind that we cannot change the past. The past is going to happen. So this is something that I would feel that I hope the audience can have it stuck in their mind, like yourself. I'm glad there's some impact to it. At the same time, we pretty much cannot predict the future because, as data scientists, we know that we want to predict something. We need so many variables just to make sure that, it's somewhat predictable. But in actual fact, we can't really, predict in a way that is a perfect manner. So in that sense, if we overrate the future because we don't know what is going to happen in a very good sense, our life get misled. So, we have too much confidence in the future. And then at the same time, the past could be something that could have been very impactful, but we take it lightly and we underrate it, but that will endanger our current life at this moment. So it's kind of a balance, the future, something that we shouldn't overrate, too confident about it because what we have or what we know now. But at the same time, in the past shouldn't be something that is taken lightly and underrated. So that itself can endanger. And that's why I feel that we can live in the moment, not to the extreme sense of living, just by literally moment by moment, but in that sense, to look at the near forecast or the near future or the near past, how we should be able to move forward. And if we want to move forward, it's good that if we can leave behind a legacy, because after all of us are born into this world. Through our mothers, we are born into this society. I'm sure one of the duty, undeniably true, that is to do something meaningful for this world.
You have started it with very emotional words, and it's very well put. I would like to go back on your journey. You have spent decades across data science, education, and entrepreneurship. What first pulled you towards data and decision science?
So, well, see, we have to look at the history a little bit. So when I started my career, not many people talk about big data or data science. In fact, the term data science was pretty much popularized in the greater extent towards institutional application in data science, big data, statistical analytics, machine learning in the 90s. So it's not too far away, and I started my career in the late 2000s. So it could be even just 10 years apart. So back then it was still very fresh. And of course, I have the desire, always to look at data and trying to find out what the data is telling me. What exactly is the data trying to whisper the truth to me? And it's some kind of like, mutual kind of activities. It's not just sitting there waiting for the data to tell me, but I need to do something to extract to make it work. So that itself first pulled me toward data and decision science. Of course, in decision science, I'm always interested because I always believe that we make decisions that are always close to our heart, but it's just not just something which is arbitrary. There could be something more scientific approach to understanding this. So because of the key interest in statistics, in data, or the data to tell me the truth, and in psychology, I think this whole package actually pulled me towards data and decision science. Yeah.
This naturally leads to what you are founded or your company, DataCard.
Yes.
What problem were you most intent on solving when you started DataCard?
When I started DataCord, you see, I noticed there are many courses online and face to face that are pretty much offering a kind of a across the board education. So when you go for the course, you get trained or you get educated, and then you go into your particular industry or your sector to apply data science. But that is on the pretty much on the generic side. And I talked to the bosses, I talked to my friends, talked to my employers, I asked them what they think. They say that they hire person, yes, with good qualification, with good training. But one question they just find it hard to answer is whether they know how to apply the data science into their job. Because when you go for courses, as I mentioned, it's quite generic, machine learning, regression, there's a use case, but the use case may not be applicable so much into the current job that the person is in. And so that becomes, in a way, a question, a demand from the employers. And so when I see there's a demand for the employers, at the same time, for the past 20 years, I'll be in data science. Definitely, for sure, I have the pool of networks, people I know around the world, from all the way from Africa, Europe, America, South Asia, Southeast Asia, everywhere. I thought I have the supply of the network, and I have somewhat understanding of the demand of the market. And what I can do as a researcher, as a doctor, is that I can actually create something that is meaningful to answer both of these needs. And that's why in DataCord, the one that I really want to solve is to provide rigorous training that the employers look for that is applied to their job function or the role for the people, for the early entry students or the early professionals. So that was what I was really wanted to solve because, other than just, doing as a business, running a company, I see great value in putting this piece into this jigsaw puzzle to make it complete.
Wow. So you would have met many organizations, like you stated, many during a consultancy process, right? Where data science is neglected, but data science is actually the backbone of AI, right? Can you throw some light on that? How data science is used in the AI for our young audience to understand?
Yes. So, well, you just imagine the Spotify. I'm just going to use one company. I like to use Spotify. I listen to the selection of musics, the playlist. And just imagine Spotify is going to run an AI to understand what you will like as the years go by. So pretty much a predictive kind of analytics. So you listen, okay, I listen to classical, Chinese, Mandarin, and Japanese songs. And then from there, they can, in a way, predict in the future what I will most likely like. The songs that I want to listen to. Because as I grow older, perhaps my taste might change and so on and so forth. So it requires certain level of intelligence, artificial intelligence. So how does data science come in is what we call like a recommender system, where the Spotify will recommend based on mathematical formula, based on matrices to help us to understand what is the next playlist or rather the next year playlist. So I believe this particular example is very relevant to how data science is used in the AI world. That is just one example. Many examples there are, we can see. For example, if we talk about autonomous vehicle. So when they move themselves and we talk about sensors sensing the environment, where's the wall, where's the curb, where is the road, where's the marker, so on and so forth. There is a certain amount of computer science here, computer vision that you really needs to come in to detect which are the objects. But what about something which is more probabilistic? Like there's a curb, but perhaps the curb is not too high. The probability of getting the car injured is very low. Perhaps the car can not mount the curb to go forward so that it can go to the destination. For example, like a hotel. Some places have a very small little curb, but to the sensor, if there's a curb, they shouldn't turn in. So it shouldn't be that case. If a curb, it should be low probability. Within the threshold, you can move forward. So in that sense, this concept, this entire flow is what data science can answer in the AI world.
It's explained with good clarity. Now, when people think about data science, right, and if they have listened to your examples of Spotify and autonomous vehicles, I think they will get an idea and they can connect the dots. There is one more thing I wanted to point out.
Yes.
on DataCard.
Mm.
DataCard often emphasizes on responsible and explainable AI. So,
Yes.
responsible AI and explainable AI has become the main challenges now. Why is
Mhm.
this becoming non-negotiable rather than nice to have?
Yes. So, well, the thing about AI is that people has this kind of misconception, I would feel, that AI is going to take over the world like what we see in the movies. No, that AI is going to chase after humans, that kind of stuff. To that extent, right? To that extent, and people start to feel that okay, what if we don't tame AI? We don't control AI. What is going to happen? Is it going to be like in the movies? Because many things that happen now, somewhat, is reflected in some of the movies that the movies predicted in the future, right? So in that sense, people take that as a reference to think that, okay, it's going to happen, and then we need to make sure that the AI is tame, and therefore we need to have a responsible and explainable AI. Now, not only this, not just only this, but also the fact that people might feel that AI is going to touch on my personal privacy, my personal data. So how are we going to make it responsible? So even not looking at the future, but now is looking at the current data, the personal data I have. So how are we going to have a framework, a guideline to help us? So with all these multiple concerns, the future, the data privacy, and at the same time, the trust in the AI, in the output. If I say I want to generate this, can we get something responsible from the AI? Can we keep AI truly responsible when AI is an entity that is not registered like a human where, we have social identity, we have national identity, so on and so forth, but AI itself doesn't have. So in that sense, how do we keep it responsible? So philosopher in the world has always trying to answer this question. So with this multiple perspective, it's no longer nice to have. Now it becomes non-negotiable because with all this concern, if we do not take it seriously as non-negotiable and we take it as if like nice to have, then we face perhaps too many challenges in the future that we may struggle to manage.
So, responsible AI must be the key word the countries must have in their top of their head.
Yes, correct.
I would like to dive deeper into the AI world where your expertise lies. Your
Mhm.
research dives deep into loss aversion, bias, and decision making. How should leaders think about bias when deploying AI systems?
So, well, I use the AI a lot. I mean, I'll be frank, I think almost everyone use the AI now in their daily work, in the studies even, so long as it's being used responsibly. I see a lot of human kind of a bias, where they use the AI to achieve something they want, but it may not necessarily be the outcome that other people expect. And so in that sense, for leaders, we need to see from the perspective of the holistic implementation of the AI, the deployment of AI. So my research touched on loss aversion and decision making. I believe this area of research will be able to leaders to explain why people are so concerned about losing something, even in deploying AI. At what point in time? At what point in time people are going to be biased, are going to feel the loss very deeply when it comes to the use of AI. So in that sense, hypothetically, just as an example, deploying AI could be in the sense that it could deploy AI to a certain group of people who are less prone to this amount of bias. In research, what they say is that those technical experts, domain expertise people, are the people who are less prone to human bias. So this is by research, well-known research around the world. So if you deploy to them, the loss aversion will be more tame, as you can see. So in that sense, leaders got to think from a kind of a segment basis rather than deploying the AI throughout the entire society or entire population. We see this at the deployment of the internet. The internet will start off with the military as a communication, and then it start moving down to more of a not really expert on the universities, people who know about internet, and then it start deploying down towards the consumers who at that time do not know much about internet, but they know what is the use of it. So as you can see, leaders can think of AI deployment just as quite similar to the deployment of the internet, the democratization of the internet in the earlier days.
So, the challenges what internet faced during those time is what the challenges the AI also is facing right now.
Yes, I believe it's definitely similar. I won't say it's the same because internet was something that is very secure, that only the militaries in the world will use it to communicate with each other, whereas the AI now is already somewhat open up for everyone to use, not just any segment of the group. But I think from the leadership perspective, we need to see like those kind of segment by segments cascading down from domain experts to people who know about internet to people who don't know but want to use and then people who want to learn. So this kind of segregation will help a lot in deploying AI systems.
And just like AI just exploded, and this is where question always comes to mind. This is what I keep asking everybody. There's a growing trend, almost a temptation to outsource judgment to models.
Mm.
Where do you draw the line between AI and human judgment?
Okay, so okay, as I mentioned, I use AI, right? So in my report preparation or some materials preparation for even training or even for management reporting for consulting work, and I believe that we can't take AI assistance at this day and age as a complete truth. We can't do that. Why we can't do that is because our expectation of what we want, the outcome, let's say, is billions of parameters described by billions of words. For example, very complex. At the same time, the AI assistance relies on the past data that already have. So when you try to get the results from the AI, that might not necessarily meet the expectation of what you have of that thousand over billions of parameters. Now, in that sense, we cannot just fully depend on AI assistance to answer the need of something of our expectation that is pretty much sky high. And that is why human responsibility will need to come in to more so to help ourselves in reaching the expectation. One example is this. When I prepare the training material, I ask AI, okay, give me an outline of certain things so that I can have some kind of understanding or thinking, thought process to help me, to assist me in preparing the training material. So AI is going to give me an outline. I take the outline and I say, oh, okay, that doesn't seem to fully match the expectation I have, but it's there. So that is where I'm responsible to answer the needs of my expectation. I come in to say, okay, I'm going to do some changes to it. So we cannot really outsource the judgment to models, plainly because our expectations is not driven by the models.
True, very true. This is one good point for our students. Talking about students, you work closely with students and early career professionals globally. What misconception do you see most often about careers in AI and data science?
Yes, so I believe that the most common misconception that people have is basically putting too much weightage, too much focus into the AI. Because a career itself, of course, in AI data science, you can talk about the skill set, having very good skills in AI and data science. But a career in AI data science in my past 20 years or so, and my understanding is that it's a very social driven kind of uh, enterprise or task that we need to take on. So it's not only just analyzing data, we need to work with other people. We need to work with the marketing department, the sales department, the IT department, the overseas branch department, the management. This kind of very delicate connection, working relationship is something I feel students and early career professionals can focus on also to build their careers in AI data science. I have employers who tell me that, yeah, this guy is brilliant. He can solve this problem within 2 or 3 days where other people take 1 month. But this guy just couldn't present in simple language. So, and then he comes to me and say, can you please help me to present this in a simple language? I felt, okay, I'm going to do this job. Fine. I get paid. Okay, fine. It's a business. But I feel that data scientists or data professionals can be trained, can be prepared for these soft skills to help them to advance in their career.
That's true. Actually, I was going to talk about that. The main thing what you've stated is communication also is very important, not just technically
Yes,
good. You must be able to convey your thoughts to all your stakeholders around, right?
you're right, man.
I want to come to the
Mm,
Indian audience. India
yep.
produces a huge volume of engineering and data talent, but many struggle to bridge
Mm.
theory and real world impact. What should Indian students and early professionals focus on to stand out globally?
So I believe, I myself as a Singaporean, I see the benefit of, in a sense, working in close proximity with people from different parts of the world in really pretty much like, it's not very far away. We are just one city state, one country. So pretty much we are able to, in a sense, experience or to understand and listen to other people's way of bridging theory and real world impacts. Now, if you ask me, coming from that perspective, I would probably think that it would be a great opportunity. Let me say this, okay? Indian students and early professionals, I have met many talented Indian professionals. Okay, let me put it on record. There are many really good Indian professionals. Fantastic, really fantastic. I would love to work with them. But for the students and early professionals, I believe they can get a chance to experience a different perspective in life so that it can help them to bridge theory and real world impact. It's all about perspective. To broaden the perspective, to see the real world impacts from different dimensions or different angles and ask themselves how theory can answer different angles, different perspective of that same real world impacts.
Don't put a blinder and
Yes.
go towards your goal. You be open to other challenges and opportunities, right? And where does Singapore stand in the AI and data science? Since you are a true Singaporean, we would
Yeah.
get a perspective from that.
Yeah. So, I mean, for Singaporeans and the government of Singapore, we always look at a forward kind of a thinking. We always think forward. So, okay, let's put it this way. Real world impact. We talk about climate change. There is a real world impact. There's a real world concern, climate change. So, but now the thing is that climate change in the perspective of the Europeans, in the perspective of the Americans, the Chinese, the Japanese, they have somewhat in common. I wouldn't say it's completely different, but there is some subtle kind of differences in the perspective. So if I come in as a data scientist, I have the theory knowing that, okay, data science, if we build more efficient models, then data centers will use lesser energy and therefore emit lesser CO2, for example, and therefore it might help to fight against climate change. So that is one way of thinking that might satisfy, perhaps, for example, the Singapore society. But at the same time, people are skeptical about how data science theory can impact climate change. Okay, so I won't name which country, but there are their struggles, right? So in that sense, if you look from that angle of doubting climate change, then this is something which is more on the educational side. There's a theory, but this theory, how we're going to educate. So you see, I use this example. We have two different approach. One is using more efficient algorithm so that we can produce lesser CO2. The other one is more on educating on the theory, educating on the impact, more on the training and education, so that we also drive the society to create the real world impact. So on the Singapore side, we definitely look at the forward. If we say we want to do climate change, then we will think about how AI is going to come in to help in the climate change initiative. And that goes along with United Nations, that they say that, you can't do climate change if there are disinformation or misinformation that comes out from the AI. Yep.
Okay. That's, you have taken climate change an example, and you've just shown what Singapore's way of thinking is.
Singapore society, we look from it from that perspective. But at the same time, as you can see from the news, the government is always trying to build partnership with other countries. Because, we know that we can't do it by ourselves. You want to build an efficient model, we have talents, we have people who can do it. But how are we going to create a world impact, not just Singapore impact, but the impact to other countries around the world? So there will be some form of a partnership that we need to do. So that is definitely also another approach in tackling the climate change.
Specifically in climate change, it's a global affair. Not one
Yes.
country can take it forward. Like
Yes.
you would have seen the news, which is 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the Brazil forest fire, right?
Oh,
It
yes,
affected
yes.
everybody around the globe, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
that is one thing we'll have to go globally.
Correct. Yeah, you're right. So I believe we can the Indian students and early professionals will definitely stand to gain a lot if they are exposed to these multiple perspectives and dimensions towards challenges they face. And then because of that, whenever you have a kind of like a scenario-driven challenges, the natural human behavior is that we will start to think how to solve. We may not do it, we may not discuss, we may not research, but in our mind, we think about it. And that is good enough because with people start thinking it, there will be some group of people who start doing research or taking action.
That's a nice thought. Yes,
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
yeah,
I come to my last question before a rapid
yeah.
fire.
Okay.
See, AI is exploded
Yeah.
dramatically,
Mm,
drastically.
yeah.
There are a lot of people who are overwhelmed by the pace of the change in AI.
Mm, yeah.
What fundamentals would you advise them to anchor themselves to? How can they stay grounded?
Okay, so in this research, the recent project that me and my team we are taking on, so we have myself, Dr. Catherine, Robert, and Ivan from Poland. So Ivan is from Poland, Robert is from Bulgaria, Dr. Catherine is from Switzerland, and myself from Singapore. We are trying to come out with this thing about combating disinformation in the digital world. Why we're coming out with this is because we recognize that AI is going to churn out things that, may be questionable, something that we need to verify. And you see, the recent news also states that, as of now, the recent news state that AI is churning out articles, research articles, and they got published in the journals.
Yes,
So,
yes, I've read about.
yeah, so that is kind of like the verification, the human responsibility that needs to come in. Yes, we use the AI to say let's generate this article, but how are we going to verify it? So in that sense, we are actually combating disinformation. Now, we're not saying just on the existing news or the existing information, but also at the same time, the pre-bunking, the before event, right? So before it happens, what steps do we take? This entire what we call it, framework or entire module or entire training, in my opinion, is the fundamentals that we need to have now because people are looking at research paper, but it seems to me that they take it as the face value and just take it seriously. But there are ways to tackle it actually to understand whether is it not just only driven by AI, but whether is it really the citation exists, whether the grammar is written by AI, can we cross-reference to other articles? Does this author even exist? So all these questions and even behaviors science, all these questions can be answered in this holistic training that me and my team we are working on. So I think this is really the fundamentals in this day and age for the citizen of the world to really take on.
That's a good thought to end the session and get into the rapid fire, right? So
Okay.
rapid fire here, I give you questions, and first thing what comes to your mind. So let's begin. One habit that has most shaped how you think.
Well, taking a step back before making any action. So how I think is that if I want to do something, I'll take a step back, and it's always good to take a step back.
Not doing impulsive
Yeah, not doing
thinking,
impulsive.
right? Yes, yes. A non-technical book that influenced your worldview.
Yeah, there's this book by Thomas Kuhn, Structure of Scientific Revolutions. I'm not sure whether is it classified as technical, is kind of philosophy. Yeah, so they use the term paradigm shift. So this book come into my mind because exactly now what we are facing is that there's a lot of paradigm shift that is happening, even from AI to AI, how the world is actually changing. So that definitely actually influenced my worldview.
I will put a note about it in the description.
Yeah.
Teaching or building, which energizes you more?
Well, definitely building because, when I build, I see the value in me putting my hands into the life, building up people's life. So that gives me the energy, that gives me the purpose and the motivation.
One belief about your work or success you have changed over time.
My one belief is that success is not built overnight. You got to build over time. So in the past, we might see that, oh, there's a success and we will jump up and down, very happy. But in actual fact, that is a success to build on furthermore successes. So I think over time, I change in this to understand that, yes, we celebrate, but always look forward. There's going to be more success coming in the future.
I'll move into the AI part of it.
Yep, no problem. Yep.
And one AI trend people are paying too much attention to.
Well, there's too much attention on the way how to use the AI. Okay, so let me just clarify this. It's good to have this trend to know how to use the AI, but there's too much attention to this to the point that the validity, the truthfulness of the AI, the truthfulness of the person who used the AI. I think this somewhat is neglected. So there's too much attention on using the AI, but not on the responsibilities.
We come to the last question.
Yeah, no
One
problem.
thing humans should never fully delegate to AI.
Never delegate your love life to AI. But that's true, right? So you see,
That's true.
there's this movie. Well, frankly speaking, there's this movie called She or Her
Mm.
or HER. Her, I think it's her.
Yeah.
That is like the guy falling in love with the AI, which is in the digital world, running over the phone, over the device, and everything. But if I want to delegate this thing called love to this AI, I think I'm going to be pretty much quite miserable. So never delegate
Yeah.
fully to AI.
Well put. So that's a nice way to end the conversation.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Dr. Daniel,
Yeah.
this
Thank you very
has
much.
been
Thanks, Sachin.
incredible conversation. Thank you for helping us slow down, think deeper, and
Mhm.
stay human in an AI-driven world.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for
Yes.
taking your time.
No problem. Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. I'm glad that I can contribute in this manner. Thank you very much.
And to our listeners, if this conversation helped you think differently about AI and your career, do share it with someone who's building and leading teams. This is What Out One Talks with Sachin Menon. See you in the next episode.